Who will be the last man standing at the 2010 U.S. Open? There's no clear-cut favorite this year, but we do have three chief contenders. Hi, everyone. I'm Steve Flink, and welcome to our 2010 U.S. Open men's preview. Roger Federer, the five-time champion, Rafael Nadal, and Andy Murray, who was runner-up in 2008, all have good reasons to believe in themselves this time around at the Open. In addition to the powerful trio of Federer, Nadal, and Murray, we're going to take a look at a bunch of other players who could well go deep into the draw. Nadal has never been at his best on the hard courts here in New York over the course of his career, but he was a semifinalist the past 2 years. All year in 2010, Nadal has been priming for the U.S. Open, hoping to add this to his resume and become only the seventh man in history to win all four major championships across a career. Roger Federer is, of course, the consummate major tournament player. He was only 2 points away from winning a sixth consecutive U.S. Open crown a year ago before falling in 5 sets against Juan Martin del Potro. Federer is always keyed up for the Grand Slam championships. He hasn't won one since the Australian Open at the start of the year, and he'll be very eager to regain his crown this time around. Ever since he reached the final of the 2008 U.S. Open, Andy Murray has been a man who most learned observers believe was destined to win his share of Grand Slam championships. It hasn't happened yet for Murray. He was runner-up to Federer at the 2010 Australian Open, went into a long slump, but recently he came through to win in Toronto. He beat both Nadal and Federer, and now Andy Murray should have tremendous confidence as he approaches this 2010 U.S. Open. Over the course of the last 3 years, only one man has beaten the Serbian Novak Djokovic at the U.S. Open, and that man, of course, is Roger Federer. He beat Djokovic in the finals of the 2007 U.S. Open and then in the semifinals the past 2 years. Djokovic, however, has not been in the best of form over the course of this summer hardcourt season, and his confidence may not be at an all-time high. However, he remains one of the premier hardcourt players in the world. Thomas Berdych has had a superb 2010 season. He reached his first Grand Slam singles final at Wimbledon before losing to Rafael Nadal. He was very close to reaching the French Open final not long before that, before he was beaten in a terrific semifinal by Robin Soderling. Berdych has clearly matured immensely over the course of this season. He now believes in himself. He's beaten Federer twice. He knows what it takes to go deep into the draws at the major events, and Thomas Berdych will be a factor at this event. He figures to meet Andy Murray in the quarterfinals in what could be one of the best matches of the tournament. Much like Berdych, Robin Soderling is one of the premier big hitters in the game of men's tennis, and he has come into his own over the course of this 2010 season. He reached his second consecutive French Open final, upending Roger Federer for the first time in his career. Soderling is clearly coming into his own. He figures to meet Federer in the quarterfinals of this event in their first clash since their Roland Garros encounter. 7 years ago, Andy Roddick of the U.S. won his one and only major championship here at the U.S. Open. But he's played well here over the years. He got back to the finals in 2006, and it is a resurgent Roddick who approaches this U.S. Open. He just reached the semifinals in Cincinnati, and Roddick, after a minor bout of mononucleosis, seems to be feeling chipper and looking to play his best tennis over the course of the fortnight. During the Olympus U.S. Open Series, no American man was more successful than Marty Fish, who after having knee surgery last September, proceeded to lose 30 pounds, trimmer, fitter, stronger than ever before. Fish has had a superb season this summer. He won the title in Atlanta, he reached the finals in Cincinnati and lost narrowly to Federer. And Fish could be a big factor in this tournament. He figures to meet Marcos Baghdatis in what would be a crucial third-round contest. If Fish can survive that, he can go a long way in this tournament. After having a series of problems with injuries earlier in this season, David Nalbandian had an excellent summer on the Olympus U.S. Open Series. He won the title in Washington, and he's playing some of his best tennis in years. Nalbandian, seeded 31st here, was 1 point away from the final 7 years ago before losing a crushing 5-set collision against Andy Roddick. He could conceivably come out to a quarterfinal with Rafael Nadal at this year's Open. Watch out for David Nalbandian. One of the game's most charismatic players, Marcos Baghdatis, had an excellent 2010 campaign on the hard courts. He beat Thomas Berdych twice. He made the semifinals recently in Cincinnati, where he lost to Roger Federer after beating Rafael Nadal. Baghdatis is a crowd pleaser and a sparkling shot maker. He is one man you don't want to miss the chance to watch at this 2010 U.S. Open. As I said at the outset, we have three chief candidates for the 2010 U.S. Open men's singles crown. Roger Federer, in search of a sixth championship here on these grounds. Rafael Nadal, hoping to make history with his first championship, and Andy Murray, the finalist 2 years ago, looking to record a first career Grand Slam championship. Murray and Federer are excellent hardcourt players. They're more comfortable on this surface in many ways than Nadal. But in the end, my choice for the title is Rafael Nadal because I think he is in search of history. Nadal's looking to become the first man since Rod Laver in 1969 to win the French, Wimbledon, and U.S. Open championships in the same season. Furthermore, he wants to record a career Grand Slam. So I go with Rafael Nadal. I'm Steve Flink, and thank you so much for watching our 2010 U.S. Open Men's Preview.